Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are live here today with co-working from Red Worldwide, and we're excited that you guys have all joined us. We are really um, excited about today's episode because we do this probably twice a year. In some kind of way, we will bring forth the Freedom Workshop, and it's all about really creating a company that can thrive without you. And so, most of you guys who come to co-working, you know that each day that we have a specific thing that we are focused on. And on Mondays, we talk about business structure and how do we really make our businesses what they need to be in order for them to serve us and serve others, the way that we deserve and desire. And so, for that reason, we try our best to really just go all in and dig deeply to give everyone what it is that they're needing so that they know how to not just structure the company, but how to create a company structure that will give them ultimately the freedom that they need. And a lot of us don't think about why we created our businesses. We more or less just jump in and start doing what we're doing without giving a whole lot of context to our why. And so I know that some of you are very much familiar with Simon Sinek, who has really trended in this area. What is your why? And there are some other authors that are really out there. Wonderful influencers who are in the business arena talking about really drilling down on your why. Why do you do it? Why do you do it? And so today, as we are in this particular mode of talking about freedom, for a lot of us, our freedom is our why. We really want to have freedom in business. We want to be in a position where we, at some point, we can take that thing that we've done, and it may be running itself, or we may decide to sell it, or we may decide to chairman the board, or we might decide to pass it down to our kids. But whatever your real why is, we really want to help you today to understand, some rudimentary things with regards to freedom, and get to a point of where you make this a priority. On our website, we have a link towards the bottom, for a person to take the questionnaire with regards to your freedom point. And you need to understand what your freedom point is, because some of us, we just work, 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 and we don't not think about it, but it's not in the forefront of our mind as to what is going to be the point in which we will, do something different with regards to the company. And I don't want you to be living with this in your mind so much so that you don't do a good job at running the company now, but I absolutely want you to be aware that the freedom point needs to be somewhere on that list, okay, of things that you should be aware of. And you need to be looking at your company from the standpoint of, what is it going to give me back? I'm pouring all of my energy, my time, my resources, into this thing. I'm giving it my best gifts. What will it give me back? It should be a mutually beneficial exchange between you and this beautiful thing that you've built. And so, with that said, we're going to take a look at this from a standpoint of freedom. So today you guys get a free workshop. Yay. I do this for people. Outside of Red Worldwide. And so today you get to participate in it. And it's really a concept of creating a company that can thrive without you. And I know that for some people, that's kind of a daunting statement, to even think about something thriving without you that you're building, but yes, it's more valuable if it thrives without you, because it becomes something that is lasting, sustainable, not dependent on anything that you are giving it. And some of us are so prideful. I just have to express this before we jump in here. We are in a mode of always thinking about, well, this is my company, I built it, it's my idea, etc. And I want to kind of choke this out if I can, because you're building the company to serve people. You're building the company to provide your products and your services and your expertise, a lot of times to someone who is in need of it. So to make it dependent on you is serving them and serving you in a way that I don't think you really want to do. We're going to look at this in the Freedom Workshop and see why. Why don't I want to, make it dependent on me? Why do I not want it to be wrapped around my ecosystem? And for those of you who didn't attend Saturday's Smart Start, please, please, please make sure you watch that video. It's a little more than an hour, I think, but we really talked about productizing your services, and we jumped in there and expressed in a service business why you don't want your company to be dependent on you. There is a reason for that. And so, yes, we want it to be dependent on your ecosystem, your ideas, your intellectual property, your standard operating procedures, all of the things that you've brought to it, but not dependent on you. So with that said, we're going to jump right in here. The ultimate freedom. Okay. And so and looking at it from this standpoint, what really is the ultimate freedom? Well, the ultimate freedom is to give you an opportunity to scale the company, sell the company, pass it down, or chairman the board. And with these four goals in mind, pick one, okay? What? I mean, what are you really looking to do in this stage of your life? And what is your end game? Okay, so for some people, they may want to own the company and they really want to just continue to scale the company and allow it to continue to provide income and, all of the things that come along with ownership in a company. And so that might be you. Your concept might be, I'm going to scale this thing and I'm going to keep it, and it will be a part of my family's resources. We're going to put it in our family trust, or we're going to keep hold of it in some kind of way, and this will be my thing, right? Or or not, okay, I'm going to sell it, okay? I'm going to make it valuable and I'm going to 10x this thing, where I walk away with what it is I was intending for it to do for me. It's going to give me back 10 times what I put in it, or 12 times or 15 times or whatever your number is. You're thinking about the sale, okay? Or maybe this is something that you want to pass down to your children or to your next generation of owners that are in your company. Maybe this is something that you want to give bits of ownership away to the people that helped you build it. That might be your goal. What about chairmaning the board? You could continue in the mode of keeping the ownership in your family, or keeping the ownership, within your group of people that are working with you, and you become the chairman of the board of the company. So as we're looking at this concept, we're going to be talking about four potential outcomes: scale, sell, pass down, or chairman. Okay, with that said, let's move on. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about indicators that you might be suffering from being in the owner's trap. And this is something that I know a lot of us are not necessarily thinking about, but you are in the owner's trap when you insist on doing everything yourself. And let's talk about what the owner's trap is, because somebody might not know. And so I don't want to assume that you've been around Red Worldwide long enough, to gain this understanding. But the owner's trap is when everything revolves around you. When the company can't go if you're not in tow, if I can say it that way. When everyone wants to talk to you, they don't want to talk to anybody else in the company but you. When if you were missing, the company is going to not just suffer, but suffer a lot, and it will be hard to recover if you're missing for 3 months or more. If you're missing for 6 months, then it could be the case that the company's doors get closed. So when you are in a situation where you are the most important party in every part of your transactions in your company, then that you're in the owner's trap. That's what's going on. So when you insist on doing everything yourself, you're exhausted. I mean, and it's one thing to be exhausted because you really love what you do and you're all in. It's another thing to be exhausted because you love what you do, you're all in, and if you didn't do it, it wouldn't get done. Okay, that's a problem. All right. Your team dreads client presentations because you don't follow the script. Oh yeah. I mean, and this is a big one. And I had to really evaluate my company when I first came into contact with this information because it became something that was more intentional for me to make sure that if I created a process and procedure that I was the first one to follow it. Okay, I was not the, cog in the wheel to keep it from doing what it was supposed to be doing. Or for that matter, I was absolutely not, the person that would create a process and based on my needs to control everything, I would change the process so that I could continue to be, you know, in that place of control forever, So we have to think about this. If your team dreads client presentations because you don't follow the script, or they dread even talking about standard operating procedures because you continuously change those things, then you need to consider whether you're or not you're in the owner's trap. You over deliver. Okay. It's wonderful, when a client receives something and they believe that your company over delivers. It's another thing altogether when they believe that if you're not there, there's no way that your company can over deliver because you know, that YOU, the capital one that's here, you are the only reason why the company can over deliver. And if you're a solopreneur, I do understand that this is going to be kind of a hard thing for you because you're looking at it and said, hey, I'm the only one over here. It's just me, or it's just me and a small team. How do I not over deliver? I'm not saying that your company shouldn't over deliver. I am just saying that the over delivery should not be completely and solely dependent on you. And there are some things that we will talk about that will help you to remove yourself from key processes in as many ways as you can, whether it be to use technology, better, or whether it be to outsource some things that, could give you back some of your time. These are some of the things we're thinking about. But today, right now, we're just talking about whether or not you're in the owner's trap. Okay. You agree to do things that are not in the portfolio of service offerings. When you begin to customize every single thing for every client, and that wasn't a part of your, the model of your company, you need to think about, am I in the owner's trap? Why am I agreeing to do something that's not in the list of things that we do? Okay. You're unable to disconnect from your business or cell phone for more than 24 to 72 hours. If that's you, yeah, okay, you're in the owner's trap. So let's look at it. What is the owner's trap again? You haven't taken a day off or vacation in years. When clients call, the only person they want to interact with is you. Okay. Yeah, this is a problem because ownership is no longer fun, desirable, or flexible. And ownership is becoming stressful and unhealthy. Money is wasted on underutilized employees. Being in the owner's trap allows you to sail in the slow boat to self and business destruction. Not a good thing. So we want to kind of look at what can we do? Well, again, what is the ultimate freedom? Our goal is to scale, sell, pass down, or chairman. So if that's our goal, then how do we get there? How do we get there? Well, it's excuse me. Many of you guys are familiar with the fact that Red Worldwide is a nonprofit organization, and we have a group of navigators. I'm not the only coach over here, not the only business advisor. We have a few people, and we have a few people that are value builder certified business advisors. And those of us who are, we always talk about the 8 key drivers of business value. And so let's look at what these drivers are, because these drivers help to make sure that you are building a more valuable company. So the first driver is financial performance. You got to have revenue in order for your company to not just exist, but continue to exist over time. And in order for it to be sustainable, there has to be funds that come in from hopefully different streams that will assist you in making sure that the financial performance supports the ability to do the work and gives you back. It's mutually beneficial. It's giving you back what it is that you not just put into it, but a profit. Okay. And then there's growth potential, driver number two, that your company is able to have a specific trajectory for growth, and having the ability to grow over time and to continue to be in business and not have some ceiling or cap that says that when you get to a specific place, you need to shut it down. You might need to sell it, okay, because you might be going into another venture, but that's something that you can decide to do, not because of the fact that something is going wrong with the company, but it may be that it's just something that needs to happen for your own personal growth, or for you to be able to do your next thing. Okay. And are you in a position where you have a Switzerland structure? Are you completely independent of any key employee or key supplier or key customer? Are you so um, tied into a specific group there that if a customer walked away, your company would suffer so greatly that it would be tremendously difficult for you to continue, without replacing that one customer? Or are you in a situation where you have one employee that has all the processes down pat, and if something happened where they walked away, you would be in a situation, okay? Or for that matter, are you only dependent on one supplier of what it is that you sell? Are you in a position that if that one supplier is not able to give you what it is that you need, that your company would have to, look seriously into, either pulling some new revenues, or, changing up your processes in a way that could be detrimental to your financial performance or your growth trajectory? So, having these dependency factors, taken away, because you create a Switzerland structure, which is an independent, business, can really help you. Then let's take a look at your valuation teeter totter. Are you in a position where you could get the particular valuation that you'd be looking for in a sale? Or if you went to go get a loan from a bank, you have everything in place so that the valuation that you get is going to provide you with what you need to be able to gain access to funding. Recurring revenue. Are you in a position where you are having more recurring revenue than reoccurring revenue? And how do you get there? Is that a contract, a higher tier contract that you can establish between you and customers or clients, so that you can have more predictable profit? Okay. Recurring revenue gives you the ability to do some probability metrics, some predictable profits. You are able to see, okay, because I have subscribers, or because I have, money sunk consumption. We learned about this in the Q1 summit, that if you have a particular product that you're selling, or you've productized your service and you're providing that service, and people need to add things that you also sell to make sure that they're able to use what it is that you sold them works better, or that it takes them to another level, that they can scale their company with the thing that they've already purchased by adding something else that you sell, that we call that money sunk consumption. So some of us are familiar with, companies that have these subscription services where maybe you buy a particular kind of appliance, and in order for you to use the appliance, you also have to go back and buy some of the other things, that come along with it. I love, and I won't mention any names of specific products, but we'll just say I'm a connoisseur of teas. And so, buying a wonderful, beautiful way to heat my teas. Okay, I've got some, glass water hot pots, as we used to call them, and I make my own teas, and I have the beautiful little mechanisms to put inside, so that the tea is steeping, inside my glass. And of course, when I start running out of teas, I've got to go back to the tea company that I won't be mentioning on this particular broadcast to buy the teas that go along with all of these wonderful things that I bought, so that's money sunk consumption. But having that recurring revenue strategy, whatever your business structure is, gives you the ability to predict your profits and know, that your financial performance, again, is going to be what you need it to be. Then monopoly control. What part of the monopoly what monopoly of customers do you control in your industry? I was sharing with a client the other day who's in our coaching program, and we have what we call the superior results coaching program. And we were going through what we need to do to get her the superior results. And we talked about the fact that in her industry, she was first to market. And then on top of that, there are other people that might be providing something similar, but there are some key things that she provides that no one else in her industry in this part of the country is providing. And so based on that, she has a monopoly control. She can say that she probably controls more than 50% of the market. And so with that said, that again is going to feed back into her financial performance, and it also is going to help her growth trajectory become what it is. Then let's look at customer satisfaction. Are your customers happy with you and happy with the services that you provide? Do you ever get anyone sending you any kind of information saying that they're not happy? And in that case, is it affecting the other customers because they're out there putting that stuff on, Google, and putting it in places where it's public? Or are you able to resolve, issues with clients in such a way that they continue to do business with you, and that your customer lifetime value is extended because of the way that you handle things? And then, of course, your hub and spoke. Well, we've been talking about, is your company so dependent on you that if you were missing, that would be a problem. Nothing turns without you. You don't have a process that is, teachable, repeatable, and with the TVR, teachable, valuable, and repeatable. And so we want to look at these things to make sure that these 8 drivers are functioning the way that they should be functioning in your company. And we're going to look at driver number 3, because the driver number 3 is the one right now, that independent structure is the one that would actually help us to sell, scale, pass down our chairman. And so as we're looking at the Switzerland structure, our goal is neutrality, okay? Being able to have the business be completely independent of employees, suppliers, and customers really does increase your value. It actually does improve your valuation when you are not in a situation where you're dependent on, you're the only person that can supply you what you want is a particular company, and that company has a supply chain issue, and now your company has an issue. Having backup suppliers is going to be the thing that you want to do, so that you have this neutrality in your company that really does help you make it more valuable. Making sure that when you have customers, you've diversified in such a way that you're able to pull in, more customers to serve them, and to continue to serve them in a way that makes them even your sales team. And we've talked about this over and over again for those of you who've been in some of our workshops and summits, that creating your services and products in such a way that customers love them, and they turn around and they bring you their friends. Okay. And sometimes you can have affiliate fees or referral fees, but a lot of the time people would just want someone to get the deal that they got. They want someone to find out that these things are possible and have it affect their bottom line in the way that theirs was affected. Or for if you're providing direct services to consumers, they want to be able to say, hey, I bought this great widget or gadget, and you should get one because it is really something that I'm enjoying. And the same thing with employees. Are you in a position where you have all of your employees able to do most of everything that needs to be done in your company, where if something happens and you have to let an employee go, or they leave and move to another country, or they move to their next best position in someone else's company, does it provide you the ability to not just keep going, but to keep going at the same rate or better rate than what you've been doing? So the goal here again is neutrality, being in a position where you're not dependent and you're able to do your work in a way that gives you the ability to sell, scale, chairman, and pass down. Okay, so I want you to be able to rank your employees in their difficulty to replace. And I can provide you, if you will put your information in the chat, the ability to understand and get a hold of this information so you can do this little wonderful little exercise. But if you have a piece of paper, just put it on a paper. One side you have the employee's name, and the other side the rank. Okay. That the ranks that are going to be there, and ranking the employees on their ability to or your ability to keep them in tow is going to be good. All right. And because we know that, again, we're trying to scale, sell, pass down, or chairman. And so as this is a thing that we're wanting to do, most likely we want to make sure that you are in the position to do that. Okay, so let's look at driver number 5. All right, driver number 5, recurring revenue. And we kind of talked a little bit about some of the recurring revenue opportunities. And for those of you who are in a position where you are able to make sure that recurring revenue is really recurring revenue and not reoccurring revenue. Because in some industries, the recurring revenue concept may not work as well for, but if you are in a position where you can turn your services into contracted services, or productize your services in a way that people are buying packages and they're buying them, on a recurring in a recurring way, then this could very well help you to make sure that you have that, profit, as we talked about, the predictable profit. So we just want to make sure that you have the ability to move in that realm, so that you can look like this $1 million security company here. They had the ability to, only make about $550,000. 100% of it was coming from the installations at one point, and this was their annual revenue. However, when they added monitoring to their list of services, and that gave them $2 million in revenue, because what ended up happening is the recurring revenue from the monthly the monthly monitoring, it supported in a major way, the company's revenue goals. And so when we're looking here at the installation, and only seeing installation, okay, they may have been giving away the security equipment, and so that in and of itself had a different effect. And in this particular case, it's showing me $750,000 that they were able to make on 100% installation, but $2 million with the monitoring. And I would say that there were now other services that they could add that would even increase from the $2 million mark and take them far over that, because adding, alongside that monitoring, the ability for them to check equipment every 6 months, or for that matter, every year, it gave them additional revenue that they could add, to their coffers. Okay, let's look at another, the consumables. Okay, coffee. The hierarchy of recurring revenue. For consumables, and sunk money consumption that we talked about, espresso, right? You have to buy the pods in order for you to really, take advantage of the wonderful machine that you bought. Okay, you know. Let's take a look at one of the other ones. Subscription magazine companies are having an online magazine or an online newsletter. This is another thing. People are paying monthly or annually for access, and having access gives you the ability to, gain revenue that you can count on, right? Okay. The sunk money subscriptions, Bloomberg, we talked about that. Where here with Bloomberg, you're buying the subscription, but to get access to some of the other add-ons, you're going to be paying additional monies. Subscriptions, renewals, like, the concept of people who need to have shredded their paperwork. And so they call in these wonderful companies, Iron Mountain being one of them, to come in and shred their documents because they don't have the ability to shred and remove the documents themselves in a way that is going to provide them the security that they're looking for. Then long-term contracts, okay? These are it's taking you higher up on that hierarchy of recurring revenue. Cell phones. Many of us remember when they were, the long-term contracts that were involved in the cell phone companies. And what they did is that they got rid of the long-term contracts and flipped it over into buying these contracts that allow you to upgrade your phone every time a new one comes out. And so it makes you eligible after you've, had your phone for a certain amount of time, that you can upgrade to the next greatest, iPhone or the next best Android, and so these long-term contracts, again, they're higher tier, opportunities, because you're going to be paying per month and a certain amount of money to have access to the option of. And this is so funny to me. You may never replace your phone, but just so you can have the option, you're going to pay that extra money on that contract, okay, every year, so that you can, if you want to, upgrade, So something very interesting to think about, because again, we're trying to scale, sell, pass down, or chairman. All right, so let's look at driver number 8, hub and spoke. And so I kind of explained to you what the drivers were, but I just want to give you this visual because this really is going to uh, show you something that you probably, can resonate with a whole lot better than my words. You're the owner, and customer number 1 wants you, customer number 2 wants you, customer number 3 wants you, employee number 1, employee number 2, and the suppliers. Everybody needs to talk to you. Nobody can make a decision but you. And everything in your business is slowed down because you are everything. You are the business. You are the company. Your business is worthless when you run it in this way. I often will tell the story about one of my former business partners who had a client who was doing 80 million in business, and his company was not worth nearly what he wanted in a sale. Why? Because everything depended on him, and he was getting older and older, and the company was becoming more and more worthless. So I am saying to you that you need to be looking at it from this standpoint, because if not, you could find yourself in a situation where you're trying to sell the company and you're only able to get barely a 2 times multiple, if that, because you are the company. So for Hub and Spoke, let's kind of answer these couple of questions. What have you done in the last year to make your business less dependent on you personally? How have you structured some things so that you are not the business and you are able? If you are on the line, please mute your mic so that everyone else will not be able to hear the noise in the background. Okay. Thank you so much. Please mute. Thank you. Okay. List two specific actions that you can do over, just this next few days. And I mean, give yourself 90 days. And if you need to, give yourself 120 days so that you can make your business less dependent on you. What is it that you can do that would position yourself so that some other process that you are already doing can be done by other people or be done by technology? How can you replace yourself in those areas so that you can have more freedom to run the company, and more time, because time value of money that really does provide, you a different context when you're looking at your business from that standpoint. So pay attention to what you can do today, okay, that, could help to make your company more valuable. All right. So the business revenue is affected. I mean, it's flat because of the fact that you are the only reason why things can move. And if you find yourself having to get involved in approving discount requests from customers or some other kind of standard operating procedure or process that you put in place, you are the one who are the only one that can make that decision. You need to consider giving frontline employees a band within which they have your approval, delegated approval to negotiate, right? Because in doing that, it makes you less involved and it gives you more freedom. The spokes of the wheel cannot move without the hub, who is you. That's what we're talking about when we talk about hub and spoke. So again, our goal is to scale, sell, pass down our chairman. And for that reason, we've got to position ourselves better. Now, we want you to have some follow-up opportunities, ways that you can um, uh, learn more about how you can have this freedom point that we talked about. How do you position yourself also so that your company is more valuable? And we give this complimentary assessment away to you. You can take it by going to www.valuemybusiness.red. And when you go there, we will get the information from you. And that after you've taken the business assessment, we will position you so that you can gain access to some free advisory sessions so we can talk about what you can do to make it so that you are building a more valuable company, taking advantage of all of the opportunities to have the freedom and the time that you desire and deserve. Okay, I want to open up for questions. We have a few minutes, and so we got about 8 minutes left. So while we are in this place where we have questions, please ask your questions or even give us comments with regards to the things that we've been talking about today. Anyone? Just unmute your mics. We are um, totally available to answer any questions with regards to, you know, this. And if this is not the area that you have a question and you have something else that that's burning on your heart that you want to talk about with regards to your business or business structure, please unmute your mic and let's talk. Let's chat. Okay. Well, if we don't seem to have any questions, I'm going to look and see if there's something that jumps up in the chat right now. And nope, I think we're good. Okay. Wonderful. All right. So let's do this because we have in the past had people who were very much interested in looking at, the 8 drivers of business value and seeing them in a way that would help them um, to build out their company. I want to make sure that if you have not gotten a hold of the 8 drivers of business value ebook that will explain the same things that I explained today in our session, please put something in the chat or send us an email. And when you do, we will return the link so that you can gain access to that ebook. We give it away. It's a free or complimentary offering that we have. And it was actually on our website, I believe, a couple of months ago. So if you would like to have access to that particular ebook, we want to make sure that you do get it because it's something that is going to help you see your business in a whole new light and what it is that, oh, it is still on our website. Oh, wonderful. I was just checking to see potentially, if there was a link that might be out there. So the 8 key drivers of company value, get the ebook by going to our site. Let me just share my screen real quickly so that you can see, how to do that, because we do want you to take advantage of anything that is available that we offer. And we are going to just show you this so you can see it. Okay, here we go. All right, okay. So if you go to our website, redworldwide.org, and you scroll down, right under our link for watching co-working, you'll see get your ebook, the 8 drivers of company value. These are our complimentary ebooks, and you can click here and fill out the form and download the book. Okay, so it's really, really simple. I see we do have a question from Danita. Go ahead, Danita.
Morning.
Good morning.
I don't know if I need to do that. Okay, so my question is, I was listening, but I came in a little behind. So my question is regarding a new business. So my business has been up for just about a year now. I've had some business, not a lot of business, but pretty good. So I guess my question, and I'm not sure if I know how to correctly word it. So I'm hoping to attract, obviously, more customers.
Mhm.
In what way do we know, like, is there a gauge on how quickly business ramps up? Is it like a year, 2 years, 3 years, where you just know, like,
Good
okay, yes,
question.
this is gonna work?
Okay,
Is
so
there a
this is
way of knowing that?
so this is a good question because and we will approach the minimum viable product and ways that you can even get the industry data for your type of company that can tell you what companies are making. It's called benchmarking. Okay, write that down. Benchmarking. So in our coaching sessions that we do in our superior results coaching, we talk a lot about benchmarking and looking at other businesses in your industry and seeing, what are the markers that will help you to know, how well the business is doing in your area. Some people will open up a company and they don't do the preliminary things because they don't know to do the preliminary things. But there's such thing as proof of concept and a feasibility study that could give you data, real hard data to tell you whether it's likely that the business could work in the area where you are. There's another thing called probability metrics. This is data that will tell you how probable it is that adding services, or even doing the business at all, in the United States is still going to be a thing. So when we look at our company, sometimes there are things that are affected that is really beyond your control. For example, the pandemic affected things for everybody, and a lot of people were not able to pivot or transition to online or something else that didn't require customer contact. But for people who were savvy or innovative enough, people who had mentors that could help them people, who were in coaching programs and things of that nature, they were able to, sometimes explore the options that were out there. We did, feasibility studies, but we also did focus groups. And that might be something that could benefit your company, for us to do a focus group so we can look at the product offerings and talk about, things that you might be not even thinking about, to offer to or help you offer, to your industry in your neighborhood or places where you're providing services, something that is of value in your neck of the woods. Because the way people are doing event planning over where you are may be very different than the way someone does event planning where I am. So understanding the nature of your customer, building out the avatar or who your ideal customer is, could be extremely helpful, and helping you to understand their pain points, leading with empathy. What is it that my customers need and want and desire, and why do they feel the way they feel about this particular thing, and what can I do as the person who's created these services to meet those needs, to create a solution to their problems, where they come to me, they come looking for me, knowing that when they get to me, they'll be able to get the need met. Does that help? Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So, and then, by the way, those of you who can't see Danita, she just gave me a thumbs up. So
Yes, no, that was totally helpful. Thank you so much.
yes. So make sure you make your session, okay? So we can, individually walk through the things that would be necessary for your company, how we can, really help you drill down. Maybe you haven't niched down enough. In other words, you might not know the exact customer. You think that you are going to serve everybody that has kids, that have birthdays or whatever, or maybe you're going to serve every business that has some sort of event. And that's way too broad. Maybe you need to be thinking about, who your ideal customer is.
So it's so funny. I'm like, that's a total confirmation from God. Because my husband said the same thing. In fact, this weekend, I was looking at all these different things and I was getting really overwhelmed. And he's like, babe, stop. What I see you doing really well is with the kids. Make your flyers for that. Stop trying to do everything else. Do the kids. And then if somebody else comes with something else, you do it. Right now, do that. And I'm like,
be
okay,
intentional about it. Be
okay.
intentional about it. Okay. If you're going to serve people with children,
Oh, you
okay.
can't even see it. I am being very intentional right
now. Okay. But if you're going to serve people with children, then do all of the work there in that particular arena. Spend the time necessary to understand the pain points of families that are looking for, the options that they may need to provide a beautiful and memorable birthday or bar mitzvah or whatever for children, right? And it will then, give you the opportunity to customize, for that age, okay, or the age group, okay, and have the packages according to the ages within that particular niche. So I'm saying niche down a little more, get to that who your real customer is, okay?
Thank you so much.
Well, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for being with us for this particular workshop. We are so excited that you've joined with us today. And we look forward to those of you who are going to be with us tomorrow. We have an extremely special guest, and we're so excited for him coming on tomorrow. And we look forward to those of you who are going to be here with us so that we can learn how to do business better. This has been Patience Rose with Co-working Live with Red.